just fire off his invite. So Mr. Firestone will join us. And then we can get this going. That's butchering the spelling. Okay. And then we'll text him as well. Hey, what's going on, K9? So, I think FanDuel's going to look a little different than DraftKings today. What's up, Sharks? I'm going to be seeking everybody's help for the well, I'm getting more Brogden now. But let's just see. Hey, what's up, Bobby?
Hey, what's up, man?
I'll let you start right on with the X Factor's first question here.
I didn't
Since
see
Levert out, does that change anything for you?
Yeah, I have some Brogden and some Duarte and some Sabonis. Like I said, highest usage player in basketball is Caris LeVert. Part of the reason people talked about how Sabonis wasn't being used the same way had some to do with LeVert and some to do with Duarte. So you eliminate LeVert from the mix. I think Brogdon's my favorite other one. It's an interesting debate between Brogdon and you'd think naturally, okay, just like off the top of your head, who's got a higher ceiling, Zach Levine or Malcolm Brogdon? In reality, this season it's been Malcolm Brogdon with the way things are currently constructed. Zach Levine is still the play I kind of have more of, but I'm not really sure if I want to stick with that or not. I think that they're very close. We have had Brogdon out, so who knows? You need the game probably to stay close for him. He came back at the last game was November 3rd. But we've seen multiple 50s out of him. We know he can control the offense, especially without LeVert. So I kind of find Brogdon to be my preferred play over there. Instead of answering questions, I'd love to just go through what I'm doing because I think
go for it.
What happens is, and I'm happy to answer any questions after this. I just want to run through it real quick. What happens is with all this value is it's like it feels right to cram it in, but then you look at the spend ups and everybody's overpriced seemingly, okay? But they're not really overpriced. So what it means is you don't need those, 70 points from one of those guys. The problem is one of them probably does go off for 65 or so like that tonight or somewhere in that range. And maybe just taking the sure points is right. I'm going with also a different approach too. In my main lineup currently, I have Steph Curry in it, just hoping for that ceiling game. Now, his Steph Curry's 11-7, Jimmy Butler's 9,600. And on average, they're basically not that far apart except for Steph's. I mean, Jimmy Butler scores 45 more often than Steph scores 45. But when Steph scores 50 or more, he can get up to 85 like he did, or 86 like he did last time. So you have guys 2K cheaper than other guys who probably average out almost the same, like really close to the same. But it's also going to keep people off Curry, and then you've got the ceiling. I think we're going to see a different lineup. I have a theory that Denver is going to end up starting Bol, who is currently not even projected to play a minute. But I will bet you they start him or they play him at least some minutes. My issue with Denver is I think unless if you're getting to 4 or more Denver Nuggets, you should be running it back with somebody on the other side. That's maybe even 3 or more. That's where I'm at. But I'm not going to budge from this Cade Cunningham thing. I think this is like literally legitimately 50 fantasy point upside. So I really want to play Cade Cunningham, and I also want to play the guys. I want to play Rubio even at chalk. By the way, we don't have 100%. We're not 100% sure that Rubio's even going to start. He probably will, but he will lose some minutes to Okoro, or somebody's going to lose minutes to Okoro. More likely Dean Wade. But there's a little bit, of reasons to maybe not completely lock him in, because that was my initial thought. But he is going to be in my main lineup. I also love Jared Allen in that game, which I mentioned before. But I think you can look at you shouldn't look at Steph as 11-7. Like, you should look at it, can he go off? Like, because it really doesn't matter. I mean, if you get the value right, and my natural instinct is to play in my main lineup, to play Barton and Gordon, and then potentially JaMychal Green. There's a chance neither Green starts here, and there's a chance they get there, but it will lower the ownership a little bit on them. The other one I'm really struggling with is Bobby Portis, because the back-to-back, because he's not like he's going to be crazy owned, but he can get handsy at times. He can get into foul trouble, and what really worries me about it the most, though, is I'm worried about his minutes being limited on the back-to-back because of how well Semi Ojeleye played yesterday, of how well Jordan Nwora and how high they think of Jordan Nwora. But, you'd think those guys would also be spelling Giannis, and they'll play some with Portis. But they have bodies, too. They can always throw Thanasis out there, too, on a back-to-back.
They sure could.
So it's just a little bit worrisome. But on the flip side, we don't even know for sure that Drew Holiday is going to play tonight. Like, everybody's just assuming this guy is going to play a back-to-back after, having spent most of his time out and being somewhat minutes limited since he came back. There's going to be information after lock, in my opinion, that's going to be a lot of stuff that we're not accounting for right now. So I'm going to keep postponing it outside of the early games, in which in the early games, the only thing I really like that I feel committed to is I am committed to Ricky Rubio in my main lineup. I'm committed to I have some Kevin Durant, no James Harden. I have one lineup with Wendell Carter. But that's pretty much. Oh, and Jared Allen. I love Jared Allen still. Nothing's changing my love for Jared Allen. I think he's got 50 plus. I'm telling you, he's averaging 50, 51, 50 and a half since without what's it called? Without Markkanen in there. And they run that screen and roll with he and Mobley all the time. He's actually getting more shot attempts than we've ever seen Jared Allen get. I mean, it used to be if Jared Allen got 10 shots about 10 times in a game, it was just shocking. But he also has his rebounding. He's had 16, 17, 15, and 17 over the last 4 games. This is a good team to rebound against because they don't have any real bigs. Even Montrezl Harrell, as much as he's an aggressive guy, he's not a guy who keeps you off the boards. Jared Allen also has some assist upside, obviously a huge shot block upside, and steal upside. So I really like Jared Allen. I'm going through a really difficult. I have a Jared Allen and Jimmy Butler, or a Bobby Portis and Steph Curry.
Okay,
and that's what I'm trying to decide. And it could. And by the way, it doesn't have to be Jimmy Butler. That could just as easily be DeJounte Murray as Jimmy Butler. But I sort of, the reason why you get a boost for Butler is they're playing in LA. The defense has been lousy. Butler gets up for these kind of games. And you have questionable tags on, well, we already lost one of them, right? No, we have questionable tags on Hero, Bam, and PJ Tucker. And probably at least 2 of those guys play. But if any one of them, especially Hero or Bam, are out, you can look for Butler to have a much bigger game. Yeah, anyway, that's just something to be worth.
How much, if at any, JaVale McGee are you playing or plan on playing?
That didn't even cross my mind.
Okay.
I would go so far as to say I would say that would be you need 30 out of him, right? He played great the other night. He hasn't hit 30 in a million years. I don't know. I can't get to him personally. I don't see any reason to. It's fine, but it's why do we need to go to JaVale McGee? It is just to pivot off of the chalky Denver stuff. And if the answer is yes, then my answer is my thought is well, there's probably other better places you can go. I mean, as much as Torrey Craig doesn't really do anything in general until recently, Torrey Craig is probably as good a play or almost as good a play, and he's 3,100. I mean, like in terms of raw points, he probably gets there just as much as McGee does. Maybe McGee gets there a little bit more, but I just don't see us needing that value from.
That's incredibly helpful, actually, because I was getting the too much of him, and I was just I was waiting to hear something like that.
I mean, I could be wrong though. I mean, like everybody.
Bobby, stop already.
Okay. What do you think about that 2v2 Sheets? If you had to do it for $100,000, which
give it to me again?
200,000. Bobby Portis and Steph, or Jared Allen and Butler?
Well, the second one is the low-owned win all the cheese play, right?
Well, I don't think people are playing Steph today, and oddly, people aren't playing that much Portis.
But they'll play Portis.
He'll be 27% owned. Yeah, I think you might be right. But Butler, I think, is going to be popular too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he sort of makes a lot of sense. Like, not like crazy popular, but double-digit ownership plus. You know what I mean? Which on this slate, for all the spend-ups, oddly enough, with all this value, there isn't really a spend-up that anyone's really targeting that I can tell. Is there one that you notice? Because I can't see any.
No.
So anyway, guys, pop in questions. I'm happy to answer. There are some really good low-owned other people. Like, you mentioned JaVale McGee. Why not take a shot with Duncan Robinson or Terrence Ross? You know what I mean? And that way you don't also have to use your center spot. And I happen to I guess you don't need your center spot, but you don't have to. I just think those guys, you're playing for upside. You're not playing for the median here. And I mean, JaVale McGee could end up with 10, but so could Terrence Ross. I mean, Terrence Ross is probably a little thin. But I do think Duncan Robinson is.
I have a similar play to McGee. If you don't like McGee, do you like any Drew Eubanks or same thing?
Not especially, because they're trying to play smaller, and when the teams have played small, we haven't seen the minutes out of Eubanks the way we would like. In general, that's a play I would have been more inclined to go with than McGee, because Eubanks doesn't get looked at very much, and probably has a much, as he proved in his last game, has a higher ceiling, realistic ceiling. But I'm not getting to him.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna take a look and see if there's any questions in here, because I'm probably gonna go around 3 or 640 or so.
I might not even make it that far, but I think 630 or something.
Yeah, that's fine. What's up, Canine Bronco? Rubio out? What? Oh, wait. Don't say Rubio out unless he. Okay, not starting. That's a big difference. I had a feeling that might happen. My inclination would be to still play Rubio.
I don't like that at all.
Well, I'll tell you why I like it. Because they want. You know why they're doing it? They're doing it to keep the rotation the same with him coming off the bench and playing and staggering a little bit of his and Garland's minutes, even though they're going to play together. And I'd be very surprised if he doesn't close. I mean, he's been playing 30-plus minutes in some of the games where we've had Garland and Sexton.
Right.
But Ricky Rubio is going to drop down now in ownership, and maybe gives us another little bit of a leg up that we can take advantage of.
What time does his game start?
Rubio was the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that. There I got the list. Yeah, they started at Coro. Yeah, I don't think that means Rubio's not going to play a ton of minutes. But sure, pause for concern. I mean, he is coming off a game that he can't really ever replicate. I've never seen Ricky Rubio score 37 points in a game before.
No.
But he can getting 35 fantasy points, I don't feel like should be all that difficult for him here. I'd rather it be Garland who's out and not and maybe instead of Sexton. And by the way, Garland is completely in play. Look at the starting lineup for them. They have literally, other than he and Mobley, they don't really have any offensive creators. So it feels kind of weird to play him because you don't have the game log that you really want. But I do kind of like that.
Right. See if there's any other takes on this not Sexton thing, this Rubio thing.
Yeah, it's true. He didn't start the last game. Good point, Steve.
They cut 2 minutes in his projection. I mean, What's that? 2 points?
Little, yeah, about that.
I mean, it means something.
Means something. It might be better off overall for him. It is weird though, because he's more of a natural fit alongside Sexton than he is alongside Garland. Because Sexton has a little bit more of a one in him than Sexton. I mean, Garland does a little more of a one in him than Sexton does.
Dude, what's the guy got to do to start? If he didn't.
No, but that's the thing though. They're a good team, and they're trying to keep the guys in the same place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if Will Barton had been playing 6-man this year like he used to, my guess is they probably still wouldn't start him tonight, and they just bring him in after 3 or 4 minutes.
So what? What are you, 30 minutes? 31 minutes?
Yeah, that feels right.
That feels right.
I mean, I think there's a downside of 27 or 28.
Right.
Still probably going to be a good value play even then. But it certainly makes him not a lock. Anyway.
Yeah, I may as well rerun this stuff. See if it changes. You know, it makes probably a better play is Cunningham, maybe.
Sharks asked if I liked on DK Sacramento, or if we like on DK Sacramento and San Antonio game, and it would be Barnes and Murray. I like that game a lot. I don't know exactly how to get pieces of it other than Barnes and Murray. Those are the guys I would go with. And by the way, on Eubanks is on FanDuel cheaper, which I wasn't paying attention. Let me just double check what his price is on FanDuel. He's 4,800. Because that's a weird question, K9 Bronco. How can you say him or Jeff Green when Jeff Green is 3,700 and he's 4,800? They're not. I never like comparing plays like that. Like those are two completely different things. I don't think Jeff Green is any sort of a lock at all. I don't expect him to start. He might. We really don't know who they're going to start in Denver. And as long as Bol doesn't have a projection on most sites, I mean, Bol could not only play but could have a big game. Like, I mean, and he might start and play like 10 minutes. Like, any of these things are within the realm of possibility.
So I'm going to do one more run here without with Rubio with adjusted minutes. It's going to be basically I'm seeing the adjustment down. I think to 31 minutes. I think. Yeah.
To answer Steve's question, if I at all the same price on DK, can we rank Rubio, Cade, and Gordon? I have all three in my main lineup. How about that? So for me, it's Cade, and that's partially due to ownership. Unfortunately, now Brandon Ingram was just ruled out too, by the way. I have a little Giannis on FanDuel. Yeah, absolutely. Although I really like Tatum tonight, and I'm using him on DraftKings too. I do think that the Jeff Green and Jermichael Green thing, like this could be less of a thing than people think. Ingram is out. Yes, Hart is a good play. But again, you're weighing him against other good plays. Is what's good? You know what I mean? We have Aaron Gordon. Is he better play than Aaron Gordon? No. Is he a better play than Cade Cunningham? No. Probably that one you could argue. Is he better than Rubio? Well, it depends on how you're worried about Rubio starting or not. I'm not particularly worried about it. In fact, I'm actually excited now to see the ownership come down a little bit. I don't think it's going to come out all the way, but it's going to come down, I think, a decent chunk.
Yeah. That's not going to change. One more. I have one more bad center play for you. Do you like any Robert Williams?
I just don't see what the point of that is.
Okay.
He's fine, but like even when he plays well and stuff, like he's getting like 25 fantasy points. Now he's got upside for sure in general, but pretty much terrible matchup for him. I would just
is Horford out or in?
In.
Okay. These are the things I think about with Robert Williams.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Yeah. mean, Robert Williams, it's just one of those guys who could always. Same with Mitch Robinson. If you want to play a cheap center, I would lean much more towards playing Mitch Rob than I would playing JaVale McGee. Like Mitch Rob is 300, and he can put up like 35. The only problem is you're going to have Taj Gibson minutes no matter what happens. So
Right.
You never know what's going to happen with that.
He loves him.
RJ Barrett versus, is that a real question? RJ Barrett versus, what's his name? Will Barton. Yeah, it's Will Barton. But RJ Barrett plays so many minutes that he probably has enough upside, but that's a long shot tournament play, or just a reasonable shot tournament play, I would say, with Barrett. Whereas Barton is like, things really have to go badly for him to bust and for them to be competitive. And
I saw him last night, by the way, RJ Barrett.
Oh, he was at the game. He was there because Duke, right?
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. What did you think of the games?
It's pretty good. They were good. They're all 14s were not bad.
Yeah. I thought it was I poked. I wasn't going to watch any, but I just there wasn't enough good NBA stuff going on, so I had to poke over there. How do you rate the Denver? You definitely need the starting lineup, but I'll do it for what I've got right now. The guys from Denver who are going to be in almost every lineup of mine are Barton and Gordon, because they're going to need somebody to create and score points. After that, you get into a whole mishmash of you don't even know who's starting other than Monty Morris probably. Like PJ Dozier may start, Bones Highland could start, Austin Rivers could start, Facundo Campazzo could start alongside the backcourt. So could Bol. And when you say all these names, it makes you start feeling like, maybe not so much of the Denver stuff makes as much sense. I mean, I don't even know, like Will Barton could just have a dud of a game, I guess. But he's so active. It's really hard for me to see him just doing nothing, you know?
Yeah. Aaron Gordon too, you know?
Aaron Gordon, yeah, but he's less active, but he can be more of an initiator here.
Right. He could play. They could put him. They didn't need size. They could put him at point guard.
No, in all fairness, that's true. By the way, 100%.
He's done that.
And then you might see Bol out there, who also is, remember he was the point guard for them when they ran the 7-footers out there. That was
right.
This Bol thing may be a speculation completely on my part, and it is speculation.
Hey, whatever.
This is a guy who's not projecting for any minutes on any site that I can find, and I looked at 2 of them. I just looked at
Dude, you know how it's going to be. It's going to be 30% in the single inch.
Bol?
Yeah.
You mean in the 1500? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
Same thing, I guess, the single entry, but it only depends on whether or not he's starting. If he's not starting, no one's going to play him.
Right.
But then again, I don't think I would be the one playing him either. I mean, it's weird to play against that size front line, and if you've got a guy like that, if he can play any minutes, we're going to need to wait to see. So I'm just trying to go first game, one game at a time, first slate, or one cutoff at a time. And the first one is the Cavs and the Magic game. And then I want to start looking at stuff. Even though Kevin Porter Jr. is playing tonight, I do have the hero lineup of trying to play the Cade versus Jalen Green in the rookie shootout kind of a thing, the number one draft. I like that on FanDuel especially. The pricing makes some sense, but there's so many good plays at shooting guard, you kind of have to forego them. But I love Cade Cunningham. I mean, I'm going to live and die on it. It's not like I'm going to die on it ever, really. Like, he's going to have some dud games and score 25 or 30 fantasy points, and then he's going to have games where he scores 55.
Right.
He's really, really good. And who's going to take all the shots from him? Sadiq Bey looks pretty good in general, but I guess Jeremy Grant is the one everyone's trending with. And I'll bet you right now, this sounds like a thin, so I bet I would take Cade Cunningham if someone gave me a 2-to-1 on who scores more fantasy points between Jeremy Grant and Cade Cunningham. I think Cade Cunningham scores more fantasy points tonight.
Yeah, he's still waiting for that that breakout game. I mean, that real breakout game where he makes stuff.
Yeah. Mulan asks Cade or Rubio in the DK GPP. Both is my answer. Rubio would have the slight edge, I guess. I like Cade tonight. Rubio would have slight edge. Wood could do very well against. I like Wood, but so Wood fits into a whole range of guys who I just like. You know what I mean? The difference with Wood is you're getting no safety whatsoever. He's volatile. So if you're going to talk about everybody in that range, absolutely Christian Wood. But you know, why wouldn't you rather play Valanciunas, especially with Brandon Ingram out?
Right.
You know, that's just it's a better natural play. Why wouldn't you rather play maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, by the way, who is probably going to play in a competitive game against the team that plays one of the fastest and least defense in the NBA at 8,900.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of other guys. Then you could jump up a tiny bit and get Butler or Murray, or you could drop down a tiny bit, and actually you have to drop down a little bit before I like anybody else, probably down to the 8K range. All right, so I definitely want to. My plan was to try to fade Rubio and my other stuff because I had so much of him in my main stuff. Now I probably want to get a little bit ahead on Rubio. I'd like to get a better feel for where his ownership would be, and I'm sure that's going to take a little bit longer to update.
Yeah. I still think it's going to be somewhat high.
It's going to be high. But it's not. I think there was a chance it was going to be like 75% in the big buy-in, and I think now it might be more like 35 to 45%.
That sounds about right.
Although in the big buy-in, people are pretty clever. I can't remember who it was the night before last, but there was somebody I had that was like 30% in the big buy. Oh no, it might have been the Jared Allen night where he was 36% in the big one and 7% in the other one. I was like, what the hell, man? All right, a couple more questions before I have to go. Any D'Angelo, Cat, or Edwards on DK? If I did, it would be the lineup that I'm trying to play Curry in. They're all fine. D'Angelo probably my least favorite. He's a terrible basketball player, but he's probably, you know, he'll shoot. And Cat and Edwards, the more I watch that team, I just hate the way they run everything. But it's not the coach. Like, it's been like this for years. Like, they just don't play team basketball. There's no ball movement. Everything's ISO one-on-one. Yeah, Cat could smash here. So could Edwards. So could Russell. But it feels like we're just guessing. So I'm going to take the guys who are taking the most shots. And to me, that might end up being D'Angelo Russell tonight. Brogden versus Levine. That's a great question.
That's a good question.
That's what I started.
Well, it's got to be Brogden because of the correlation with the other guys, right?
Depends on how many Denver Nuggets you're playing.
Okay.
So if you're playing 4, it's Brogden. If you're playing 3, it becomes a conversation.
Okay.
I don't like Miles Turner, but playing Miles Turner on a big slate is fine. It's great because you usually get low ownership. The weird thing is, it's not like he gets any boost from anything. Nothing ever is an indicator of what Miles Turner thing is, except for a team that drives a lot and get their shot blocked a lot. So Miles Turner, you know, is just, I can't do it. But so, I mean, look, he can put up 50. He could literally put up 10. So sure. I mean, I'm not going to say no to those guys, like just write them off, but I'm not going to play them.
Yeah.
And it does feel weird that the Levine ownership is higher than Brogdon's. Although Brogdon hasn't played in a while.
I've got piles and piles of Curry on FanDuel.
Yeah, because his price over there is crazy.
Okay.
But see, the thing is, that's what I was saying about Curry, though. Look at his game log. Like, just this is all you need to know.
Yeah.
Does it really matter whether he's 10K or 11?
No.
Right?
No.
Either gets there or he doesn't.
No. All right, I'm going to get going, guys. Bob, you want to be in Discord? That's cool, whatever. But I'm going to get going, and I will I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you in a little while, Bobby.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. Good luck, buddy.
Okay. I'll see you, you'll send me the thing before.
Yeah.